Hmm.
Can everybody hear me out there
Yes, Bonte, I can hear
in Zoom land?
you. Zoom land. Hi, Bonte, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. And you?
I'm doing well.
Bhante, I heard it's very cold again in DC area.
Yesterday it was colder, windier. Today it's still a little cool, but
The wind has died down.
it's still a little bit, but it's less than yesterday.
I think you guys sent the cold to us. We are also chilling today.
Where do you live?
Florida.
Oh, you can't complain. You have nice weather all the time.
Yeah, I know, I'm not complaining, but we are spoiled now, that's the problem.
I see.
We have nice weather until a hurricane comes.
Right. I think we're pretty blessed to live in the mid-Atlantic states. Our weather is pretty calm, pretty pleasing during all the seasons.
No, I realized that too, because we miss a lot of the big storms, the storms
Yes.
go north of us or they go on the coast and we get the tail end of some wind and stuff, but it's not too bad.
Exactly.
Hi, Bande. I'm glad to be back.
Well, you're back with us, huh?
Yeah, my class got cancelled for today. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Good for Anicca.
Yeah.
You can say.
Good evening, Bante.
Good evening, Upas.
Good evening, Bante.
So on your screen, am I spotlighted there or not?
Picture looks good from here.
Yes, Bante.
Yeah,
Good, good picture.
Is it spotlighted or?
No, fine.
Yes, Bhante, you and your people behind you.
There's people behind?
The people and you are both spotlighted.
Yeah, you're not spotlighted yet.
Why not?
No, you want to go to, you know how to do that, of course. Go to participants. If you go to participants,
But I wanted to see them too. Now, if I put myself on view, I could still.
go back to gallery, I think.
You look fine, Bonte. Are you auditioning for a movie we don't know about? You look great.
Okay, friends, we'll go ahead and start with reciting the Namo Tassa and the three refuges for those who like to join. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Buddhang Saranang Gacchami, Dhammang Saranang Gacchami, Sanghang Saranang Gacchami, Dutiyampi Buddhang Saranang Gacchami, Dutiyampi Dhammang Saranang Gacchami, Dutiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchami, Tatiyampi Buddhang Saranang Gacchami, Tatiyampi Dhammang Saranang Gacchami, Tatiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchami. So good evening, friends. Welcome to this Wednesday evening Dhamma discussion and meditation practice. So I hope you're all able to, when I was making out the newsletter for this on Monday, I thought I was sending it out on Monday, but due to a lapse in some kind of mindfulness, it didn't go out until Tuesday. But anyway, it's a short sutta, so hopefully you'd have had time to look it over. So this is a very short but important sutta dealing with our mental training in dealing with impermanence. And this sutta has been translated in different ways, called the 8 worldly dharmas, or the 8 worldly winds, or the 8 worldly conditions. However, the translator took the liberty to translate the Pali words. But it refers to the 4 pairs, or the vicissitudes. Sometimes it's called the 8 vicissitudes of life. Is 4 pairs of things that almost everyone experiences quite often in their lives, and even in their daily lives. So I'm just going to read through that, and then if any of you have any questions that you want to ask, you can either write that on the chat box, or if there's no chats, then you could just raise your hand and ask a question that you might have about that. So the Buddha is addressing the monks. These 8 worldly conditions, monks, keep the world turning around, and the world turns around these 8 worldly conditions. What are the 8? Gain and loss, repute and disrepute, or fame and ill fame, praise and blame, and joy and woe, or you could say pleasure and pain. These 8 worldly conditions are encountered by the uninstructed worldling, and they are also encountered by an instructed noble disciple. Now, what here is the distinction, or the peculiarity, the difference between an instructed noble disciple and an uninstructed worldling. When an uninstructed worldling comes upon gain, loss, fame or ill fame, praise and blame, pleasure and pain. They do not reflect on it as it really is. All these different things that have come to me, they are impermanent. They're liable to cause pain, and they're bound to change. A lot have bound up with the karma I've done in the past, and they do not know them as they really are. And so when an ordinary person encounters these 8 conditions, their mind gets engrossed in them. When gain comes, they become elated. When there's a loss, they become dejected. By praise and flattery, he's elated. By the blame, and he is dejected. When he has joy, he is elated, and when there is pain, he is dejected. Being thus involved in likes and dislikes, that person will not be freed from being born and dying, from experiencing sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair. They will not be free from suffering. But monks, when an instructed noble disciple comes upon these 8 things, they will reflect on it. Well, these gain, loss, blame, and so on that has come to me, these things are impermanent. They're caused by past karma. They're liable to cause pain, and they're bound to change. But those changes are also short-lived, and the opposites will then come, because these are basically the polarities, the either extreme, what are part of the extremes. And the wise person understands these conditions as they really are. So when gain and loss and so forth come to their mind, they don't get elated and they don't become dejected by any of these polarities or extremes. And therefore the karma bound up with chasing after these worldly conditions and the bad karma or breaking the precepts that may be involved in chasing these worldly conditions, the wise person has, trained his mind to, go beyond that, to attain equanimity. And they will be released from suffering. This is the distinction, the peculiarity, and the difference in this matter between an instructed noble disciple and an uninstructed worldly. There's a little poem that's given at the end. Loss and gain, obscurity and fame, praise and blame, pleasure and pain. These things are transient in the lives of all, inconsistent and bound to change. The mindful wise one discerns them well and is observant of their constant change. Things do not stir his or her mind, and those unpleasant do not irritate. All likes and dislikes are dispensed by the person, have come to an end and are no more. Aware now of a stainless, griefless state, beyond existence gone, he fully knows. So this sutta is from the Anguttara Nikaya, the book of the 8s. So, are any of you familiar with any of these 8 conditions? How many of you out there experience them quite a lot? Especially nowadays, the current situation, the banks are failing, right? So people are losing money right and left. The stock market is going down and people are rushing to the bank and, woeing, pulling out their hair. I lost my money. And these things are not a joke, but, these things happen quite a lot. Especially pleasure and pain. Which pertains to health and everything else. So, perhaps does any of you have any questions concerning any of these that you might like to bring up? Again, really, this is really about the whole life. You know, there's not a day go by when some of these things, especially pleasure and pain, things that you like or don't like, come and you can't get what you want or like, or you have to come into contact with things that you don't like. And hearing all the news in the world. So, as the Buddha said, these are what really drive the lives of beings.
Bhante, where is the content and discontent fall under? Like sometimes you feel content, sometimes you're not satisfied.
Well, that would be under joy and woe, or pleasure and pain, probably.
Okay. Yeah, somewhere it has to, right? It has the same sensation, feeling.
Yeah, there's different combinations that you could probably think of that would fit the general meaning of this sutta. Basically, it's any extreme or any of the opposites.
Mm.
Hot and cold, that's something, if it's too
Right.
hot, people complain, and if it's too cold, people complain. And, basically, complaints are one of the biggest activities of the ordinary mind. And, but, thinking that they can control the world, but we cannot control these things because much of it is bound up with our karma. Even gain and loss, and praise and blame, it's all bound up with the karma. And so, it's the practice of Dhamma that helps us to, we have to understand these things are impermanent and say, okay, that's the way it is. You gambled on something, you lost. That's part of life. That's your karma. You wanted to increase your money, so you bet on this or bet on that. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Where you put your money in different savings and so on, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. And so that's just the nature of life. Or in relationships too, some of your relationships work out, some of them don't. So that's what we have to contemplate and develop equanimity, developing the mind so it's more grounded in the present moment, and not investing so much of your time and energy in getting affected by these states, because not everybody is blamed all the time and not everybody is praised all the time, and usually when you get one, it's going to be the opposite. We can see that in so many instances. People get famous, and because of one or two unskillful acts or speech of theirs, they immediately, go down a drain, so to speak, in terms of popularity or things like that. And, people might even come to take their life over, certain types of losses and so on if they can't cope with that. Or go into deep depression. And it's simply because people have invested too much of their life in these extremes.
Bhante, but is it true that an instructed noble person is always able to overcome?
Well, that's referring to somebody who's an arhat, ultimately, yes. But even with the stages of any of those 4 stages of entering the stream, where you've actually weakened the fetters, then the amount of grief and sorrow that comes from these things is going to be incrementally less and less as you gain progress on the path of liberating the mind, and especially with the second and third stages where greed and hatred is gradually overcome. Then you're really, you're really coming to that point where these dualities wouldn't affect the mind too much. It's all a very gradual process. It takes years and years and years, even lifetimes of gradually wearing and weaning the mind off of, being attached to these various extremes. Whenever there's gain, it's followed by loss. You have to understand that. And so whenever you cling at one, you're already buying into the other. It's just the way it works.
The reason I asked that, Bhante, because I have observed monks, also getting angry and annoyed at times, and also getting affected by life's ups and downs.
Just being a monk doesn't guarantee you're going to be free from those hindrances and fetters. It all depends on the stages of your meditation. And if you don't not develop your meditation to a certain degree, then you will still be affected by these things. And sad to say, there's even a lot amongst monks that don't spend that much time on their practice. It even happened within the Buddhist day, and even here. But there are some that do, and you can tell that in their lives. Because our outside is a reflection of our inside, really. And we can't hide from that.
Bhante, there's a hand up. Oh no, it went down. Okay. Somebody had the hand up. But there's a question in the chat.
Okay, let me look at that.
Maybe a comment, I don't know.
Even after understanding these opposites come, we still have to act or mitigate or limit the negatives. At what point do we start acting? Before negatives happen, after they started, or after they matured and started to give more problems? I have slight knee pain now, but not sure whether to get a surgery or be mindful of the pain or do something else. Of course, with certain things, like let's say an injury, okay, you can get medical interventions and treatments, and perhaps it will do some good and it will help you. But there's other things that, may get to a point where they're beyond help. And those, especially those where we have to then, accept that and have equanimity. But, even in surgeries, that's also an iffy thing, because people might wind up having problems with even surgeries and coming to even more pain and problems even after that, in some kind of cases. But each person basically has to understand that for themselves. Before the negatives happen, of course, that's the best point when we start acting, like doing preventive measures, not doing the kind of things that are going to cause us unnecessary pain. Or, gambling, for example, wanting to increase your wealth where there's a chance that you may lose it. So anything that you do, you have to consider it. That's really, the Buddha's advice. Anything that you undertake, consider it. What is, this could happen in the future. You want to take that gamble or not? And then it's up to you to decide. And it's the way one leads one's life also. That if you're able to, be able to distance yourself or detach yourself from, being affected by those things. But certainly it always comes to mindfulness. That's the important thing. That's why the practice of mindfulness, without it, you'll never make any progress. And with it, it may take some time, but that's your best bet, is to be mindful of when these things are coming to you, reflect on them, the pros and cons of them, and then, you have to use your own wisdom to decide, if you're going to, react to those things or, indulge in those things. I mean, look at how so many people you read in the news, there's influencers, right? And people that want to make money by showing people all the keen, neat places they've traveled to in the world. They will wind up falling off cliffs and killing themselves and all kind of other things, right? So this kind of fame and gain and fame, leads to this kind of, things. I see a hand there. I don't know if you're Marcia, do you have a question or you're just exercising here? Oh, okay, there's another question. What about negative circumstances or unhealthy environments? Should we be equanimous or take action to remedy situations? What about others we see in situations? Shouldn't we encourage them too? Well, yes, negative circumstances, unhealthy environments. If we're in a position to do something or advise others that, hey, what you're doing is, unhealthy, some people might not want to take your advice and others might take the advice. So you have to be a little bit careful also and know the people you're talking to before you might advise other people in what they do. But this practice is largely for ourselves. And once we are able to minimize the impact of these 8 worldly conditions for ourselves, and other people might see, well, you don't seem to have many problems, you seem to be even keeled, what's your secret? Meditation! That's it. That's a secret. But people want to say, no, come on, give me something easier than that, come on. That's why they want to go to their healthcare providers and maybe find some drugs that's easier to do than meditation. Unfortunately, meditation is a long-term thing, and a lot of people don't have or willing to invest the time or effort to do it. But it's the only long-term and effective remedy. Everything else is only temporary fixes. I see somebody's lips moving like they're trying to ask a question, but they're muted, so I can't tell if they're trying to ask a question.
Bhante, this might be a little bit off the subject, but I think I heard you say last week you were going to teach us about M&Ms. Is that something that you're thinking about for this evening?
Well,
or maybe that's even inappropriate.
No, an M&M. No, absolutely. M&M is the cure for this problem that we've been discussing.
the 8 worldly.
Dhammas,
Okay.
and
Thank you.
especially our reactions to them.
Okay.
And so the M&M basically is a minute of mindfulness. So when anything happens to you, like you get some news, some unpleasant news, or even pleasant news, and you start to feel yourself getting a little bit excited, or pause and take a deep, slow breath. Just going to stop what you're doing, take a deep, slow breath, hold the breath in a couple of seconds, bring your attention to the body, and then slowly let out the breath, and maybe take 2 or 3 deep, slow breaths like that. Because when you're taking deep, slow breaths, you can't really think about anything, because that takes all of your effort to do that, to take a deep breath and hold the breath in. You really can't think about anything, because it's such a powerful exercise and the breathing. And then by the time you've let out the breath, you might have forgotten about what you were going to think about, especially if you take 2 or 3 of them, or at least the initial excitement would have gone down.
Okay.
And then you could reflect, okay, I heard this has happened. Don't get excited. Now let's, try to reason out things reasonably and consider before you take an action. So that's the value of the M&M.
Okay.
But you try to do it, you have to practice, even if
Right.
there's nothing especially happening.
Right.
Every hour you set a beeper on your watch or something else, and you try to, or between different activities before finishing one errand and rushing to another, stop and kind of break that push to the future.
Okay.
A couple of deep, slow breaths, just feel the body, remind yourself for the present moment, just breathing in, standing, breathing out, standing. Or, if somebody irritated you in the last hour, practice forgiveness so that you don't carry that resentment into the next hour. So there's ways you can utilize that 1 minute by practicing forgiveness, by practicing metta, or just by simply relaxing with that kind of deep, slow breathing.
Thank you. Thanks, Bhante. Yeah.
Well, in a nutshell, that's what the M&M is.
And it really works.
It does. But you have to practice it regularly. Doing it once a day or twice a day may help in a particular situation. But if you do it every hour, even if there's not anything particular, just to create that habit of touching base with the present moment, that is going to accumulate and be have a very subtle but a powerful effect on your overall kind of well-being.
Thanks, Bhante.
You're welcome. There's another. It says the Plum Village app has a nice mindfulness bell. It can be set to ring at a set interval. This is what I use. Yes, that mindfulness bell of the the Plum Village monastics and so on. They were taught by Thich Nhat Hanh. I learned that also, many 30 or more years ago when I visited Plum Village, and of course he's written books on that too. But so the M&M is, you could be a takeoff on that. Whenever the phone rings, don't rush to go pick it up. Pause and let it ring 3 times, and say, okay, whoever is speaking on the end of that line, let me not, get upset, or, to prepare yourself. So yeah, it's a similar thing. But there's a lot of apps now out there that, but everybody has a watch or a cell phone that you can set a beeper to. So, a duck quack or something. Okay. So those are good, useful. Thanks for mentioning those things. Yeah. Okay, one other comment is this passage about the sutta. It sounds like we should accept our fate due to karma. Is that correct? Well, in a way, yes. That means a lot of these things that do happen to us are a result of our past karma. But there's a lot of, supporting factors that go into that too. But when something happens, like, first thing is we have to accept that this has happened. But you don't have to accept to feed it or to react to it or let it break you. That's the main thing. When something has happened, it's already happened. We can't necessarily change that particular event, but we can change our reaction to it by accepting, yes, this has happened. But you can, if you don't want it to happen in the future, that is what you have to change, and that change only comes through, practicing the Dhamma, really, or figuring out why these things have happened. Why did you lose your money? Well, you invested it in the wrong way, for one example. Or a relationship, you rushed into a relationship, then it wound up to get broken. So many things, or, you wanted to do something risky and you wound up getting injured. So many things contribute to, to the things that happen to us. And so that's why we need to consider anything that you do, you need to consider that there's always going to be a plus and a minus to whatever you're going to do. And if you're willing to accept the minuses, then that's, of course, it's up to you. As long as they don't affect others, within your family and so on, invest your money unwisely, and then your family members get affected, or so many things like that. So those born poor should accept their poverty, the disabled their disability. You have to accept it, yes, but you don't have to accept that it has to always be like that. You can change it. That's the main thing. Sure, there's tons of people that were born and poor, but look, they become millionaires in various ways and so on. So, the fact that we're born in a situation is one thing, or we have disabilities. There's a lot of disabled people in the world too that have become super, super famous, probably more famous once they become disabled than they would have been had they not become disabled. Now, I'm not saying that is, a reason to become disabled, but okay, friends, so I think maybe we'll bring this discussion to a close, and so we can have a nice little yoga session, some stretches, so we can get well grounded in the body, and hopefully help to have a good meditation. Okay, so we'll meet back in a few minutes. Take a short break. We'll stand straight. Keep the chin lifted up, level with the floor. Just gently close your eyes. Just feel your feet pressing the floor. And feel your arms and hands hanging at the side. Relax the shoulders. Feel the clothing touching the skin of your arms, chest. And feel the head balanced on top. Feel your eyes and the sockets. Relax the face muscles. From that point on the eyes, feel the outline of the standing body. Just a vague general kind of outline, head on top, arms at the sides, feet pressing the floor. Then begin some deep, slow breathing, taking 2 or 3 seconds to expand your abdomen, rib cage, and upper chest. Hold the air in the lungs for 2 or 3 seconds. And slowly breathe out and feel the last bit of air go out of the lung. Just take a few more deep, slow breaths like that, cultivating this mindfulness. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, standing here and now. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, standing here and now. Breathing in, feeling the whole body. Breathing out, feeling the whole body. Now we're going to coordinate this breathing with these fairly simple movements. We do the movement while breathing in, holding that position for 2 or 3 seconds, keeping the air in the lungs, and on the out breath, returning to the starting point in the opposite direction. So on the next in-breath, raise the arms over the head, interlock the fingers, look up towards your hands, straighten the arms. Turn the palms upward, look at the back of your hands, stretch. On the out breath, turn the palms down and touch the top of your head. Again, the in-breath, palms up, straighten the arms, stretch the head back, stretch upwards, bend backwards a bit. Feel the arch in the lower spine. Out breath, touch the top of the head. The third time, in breath, hold that upward stretch longer. Bend back a little more. Feel the sensation. Now release the fingers, in the out breath, arms back to the side. Feel the sensations in your fingers. Close the eyes. Try to feel the outline of the body. Feel the increased body sensation, especially in your hands or fingers. Just remember the present moment of standing, standing, standing. Just let your thoughts come and go in the back of the mind. Keep the feeling of the breathing body in the front of the awareness. Centering the awareness in the body. On the next in breath, push up on the toes while raising the arms over the head in this way, facing the hands toward each other, and stretch up. The out breath, come back down, arms to the side, heels to the floor. Use the in breath to help lift up the body. Stretch. Out. Third time, in breath. Out. Close the eyes. Feel the increased sensation. Each exercise will produce more different sensations. All these sensations are basically just cellular vibrations. Cells of the body getting bathed with oxygenated blood and life force. Remember standing, standing. The here and now of the body. Okay, next, we're going to do the side bending using both arms at the same time. On an in breath, raise both arms up. Keep your fingers and arms straight, close to your head. On the out breath, bend over your right side as far as you comfortably can. Keep the arms and hands parallel to each other like railroad track. In breath, lift up. Then the other side, out breath. In breath up. Just continue alternating sides like that with the breathing out breath. In. Out. Once more to each side. Out breath, lower both arms. Let's close the eyes, feel all the sensation. Try to feel the outline of the body. The standing body. I feel that increased aliveness of the body. Prickling sensations, pulsation, clothing touching the skin. The more physical sensations you can notice, the less chance for your mind to get lost in thought. Okay, next we'll do the knee bending. On the in-breath, you can push up on the toes, lift the arms up front for balance. On the out-breath, bend the knees and lower down, balancing on the balls of the feet. Come down into the squatting position if you can. And take a deep breath to push, feel the muscles in the legs pushing the body up. All the way up on the toes. Out breath. In. Out. In. Out breath. Relax. Close the eyes. Feel the increased heartbeat. Feel the clothing touching the skin. It's helped to remind the mind, the standing body. Okay, now spread the legs and feet about 3 feet apart. Now place the hands together at the chest. The in-breath, hands over the head. The out-breath, lower the hands to the chest, bend the knees, lower the body down. Feel the stretch in the hips and knees. In-breath all the way up. Out. In. Out. Out breath, arms back to the sides. Feel the whole body exactly as it is. Each foot pressing the floor. Sensation of the legs spread apart. Clothing touching the skin of the legs. Hands and fingers. The arms. Chest. The head on top. The eyes and the sucker. All those different places make up the outline of the body. Now, hold the arms out to the sides. We're going to do the twisting from right to left. Get the lateral twisting in the spinal column. We'll breathe in. On the out breath, twist to the right. Keep your eyes focused on the hand going back. In breath, come back to the front. Let your feet turn with the body and then go to the other side with the next out breath. In breath, front. Keep alternating sides. Back to the front. Once more to each side. Lower the arms, relax. Keep feeling the whole body. Keep the legs spread apart. Spread them a little wider apart. Okay. And we're going to do the forward and backward bending. Be careful with the back bends. Don't bend back too far the first time. especially when you lift up from a back bend, could cause some shaking of the body or dizziness. Don't bend back too far the first time. So breathe in. The out breath, let the hands slide down to the knees. Keep the head lifted up, looking out straight ahead. Try to flatten the spine. Get the hump out of the spine. And a stretch in the legs. In breath, lift up. Move the hands around under the buttocks for support. Let the head go back, and on the out breath, gently bend backwards, not too far. Keep the eyes open. The arch in the spine. Carefully lift up on an in breath. Again, on the out breath, let the hands come below the knees, but halfway if you can. Still keep your head up, looking out. Legs straight. Feel the extra stretch in the back of the leg. Also in the lower spine. In breath, lift up. Again, the back bend, try to bend back a little more, but be careful. In breath up. And the third time, let your hands come down as far as you can toward the feet, the ankles or feet, and then hold on. Hold that longer. Feel the stretch in the back of the legs, also in the lower spine. Feel those sensations. And begin lifting up. In breath. Once more, the back bend. Be careful. In breath. And just relax. Feel the whole body. Vibrating, pulsating, activated life force. Now bring the legs and feet back closer together. We're going to do just one last simple exercise. Turning the head from right to left. Try to keep your chin level with the floor. On the in-breath, turn the head to the right. Look over your right shoulder. Turn your eyes further to the right to see something behind you. Twist the neck vertebrae and the out breath. Turn 180 degrees back to the left. Go to the left shoulder. And breath back to the right. breath left. Right. In breath, let's stop in the middle. Feel the whole body. Feel the outline of the body. Feel as though the whole body has been washed, bathed, healing life force. Imagine you feel that life force permeating, saturating, suffusing all cells, tissues, body, mind, nervous system, allowing the awareness to rest, present moment, grounded in the body. Feel that organic, alive, this whole body. Present moment, body centered, aware. Okay, let's come back to our seats, get ready for the sitting Good friends, so just, get comfortable in your sitting posture. Keep your back, spine, and the back of your head a straight line. Chin lifted up, level with the floor. Gently close your eyes. Just try to feel the outline of the body. I'm going to start this meditation by chanting the Namo Buddhaya. You can just listen to that. Feel those vibrations. It'll help you stay centered in the body. Take a few deep, slow breaths. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Just keep the attention on the breath, breathing, following all of its movement. And maintain feeling the outline of the body, the breath moving within that body outline. Try to maintain that continuous awareness, breathing in, sitting, breathing out, sitting. The ongoing, continuous, present moment awareness. This breathing body is a natural connection to the present moment. Just you try to feel all the subtle movements of the expanding and contracting sensations. The abdomen, rib cage, your chest. Where the clothing rubs against the skin of the stomach, rib cage, chest. In sitting, out, out, sitting, breath by breath, moment by moment. As you try to feel that contracting sensations of the out breath, ride that out breath down to the end of the moment the breath leaves the body. And then the next in breath. Just letting go of your thought. Just let your thoughts come and go in the back of the mind. Keep sensations of the breathing body in front of the awareness. In sitting, out, out, sitting. You feel like being a scientist sitting in the laboratory looking down through a microscope. Try to notice how each breath is different. Longer or shorter. Easy breath or difficult breath. Sometimes the pauses between the breaths are longer or shorter. It's always changing. Be alert for thoughts sneaking up into the mind, steal your attention away. You're carried away in thinking, recognize it as thinking. Let go of the thoughts. Take a deep, slow breath. Bring the mind back into the body. Back to in, sitting. Out, sitting. Breath by breath, moment by moment. Gradually becoming aware of other sensations coming and going in or through that breathing awareness. Each of your prickly sensations on the body. Still have too many thoughts. Some more deep, slow breathing. Help stay grounded, awake in the body. Try to notice more subtler, finer detail, sensation, breathing body, especially how quickly different sensations can rise and vanish. Being alert for subtler thoughts or urges arising in the back of the mind. in sitting, out, out, sitting, keep coming back, we ground, present moment, breathing body. Opening up to the flow of impermanence, all the different sensations coming and going. These sounds coming and going when you're meditating. Breathing is always there in the center, the body, sounds, thoughts coming and going. Present moment aware, expanded aware. Breathing in, sitting. Breathing out, sitting. So many sensations coming and going. Sounds come and go. Thoughts, ideas come and go. Pleasure or pain come and go. Thoughts of I, me, or mine come and go. These are all just the flow of the worldly conditions coming and going through this body and mind. Just underneath all of that coming and going, pain, mental chaos, it's the parallel dimension of the now, the natural present moment awareness. It's not affected by all the changing conditions. You can get a sense of that. Just try to feel, become like an empty house with nobody home. You answer the call, knocking on the doors or window. Allow that little sense of I or me there in the background of the mind, let it fade away. perceptions or thoughts come into the mind based on that sound vibration. Sabbi sankhara anicchati yada panyaya pasati atanibindati dukkhi esamaggo visuddhiya dukkha pattacca nidukkha bhayapattacca nibbaya sokapattacca nisoka untu sabbe pipanino. All conditioned things, the five aggregates of this body, mind, and world are impermanent. They arise only to briefly last, then vanish. When one sees this with the eye of wisdom, one becomes disenchanted with suffering. This is the path to purity, to freedom. May the suffering be free from suffering. May the fear struck be free from fear. May the grieving be free from grief. In this way may all beings live with mindfulness and wisdom. Thus spoke the Buddha. Now I invite you to join in chanting the word sadhu, chanting sadhu 3 times slowly, with chanting on a long out breath, feeling those vibrations in your body and mind. Take a deep breath. Sadhu. Place your hands at the edge of your knees. Take one more deep, slow breath. As you breathe in, stretch the head back, pull the hands on the knees to arch your spine. And lift the head up on an in-breath. On the out-breath, press the chin to the top of the chest, stretch the neck vertebra. Lift the chin up level with the floor on the in-breath. Then relax on an out-breath. Put a smile on your face. Okay, so friends, this brings our evening Dhamma discussion and meditation to an end. During this next week, try to pay attention to, and if the 8 worldly winds come by your way, to have that mindfulness, not to get elated or dejected in either case. Be in that equanimity and understanding. Do your M&Ms every day.
That's right.
M&Ms a day keep dukkha away.
Right.
Namo Buddhaya.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Bante. Thank you, everyone. Everyone have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bhante. Thank you.
Thanks.
Good night.
Thanks, Bhante.
Thank you,
Have a-
Bhante.
Have a good week.
Bante.